On this video, I am continuing to work through the Gospel of Mark from the Greek text, reading the Greek, and then doing a brief grammatical analysis and commentary. We just looked at the calling of Levi, and now comes the question of fasting. Why aren't your disciples fasting? Jesus is asked. So as we continue, I pick up in verse 18. Kaiesan hoi mathetai, Ioannou kai hoi pharisaioi, nestuantes kai erkatai kai legusi auto. Diati hoi mathetai Ioannou kai hoi mathetai ton pharisaion nestu usin. Hoi de soi mathetai u nestu usin. The disciples of John and the disciples of John and the Pharisees were fasting. And so they come and say to him, why? On account of what reason? Why are the disciples of John and the disciples of the Pharisees fasting? And your disciples are not fasting. As we look at the grammar, ason goes with nestu usin. We have a paraphrastic use of the participle. So, and the disciples of John and the Pharisees were fasting. Ason is your imperfect indicative active third person plural from a me. And nestuantes is your present participle nominative masculine plural from nestuo. So why the disciples of John and the Pharisees were fasting, and so they come and they say, notice erkantai and legusi. Erkantai is from erkamai. It's the present indicative middle third person plural from erkamai. And legusi, they are saying present indicative active third person plural from lego. Notice the vividness in the way John is describing this in the Greek text. They are coming and they are saying to him, on account of why are the disciples of John and the disciples of the Pharisees nestu usin? Here again we have a present indicative active third person plural from nestuo. Why are they fasting? And your disciples, u nestu usin, are not fasting. Nestu usin is your present indicative active, again, third person plural from nestuo. So a simple question, why are your disciples not fasting? Is what is being asked here by the disciples of John and the Pharisees. So then we move on to verse 19. Kaye penaltois ha Jesus, me dunantai hoi huioi tu nymphonas in hoha nymphias met auton, estin nestuen. Hasan kranan ekusin tan nymphian met auton u dunantai nestuing. And he said, Jesus said to them that the sons of the bridegroom are not able to fast as long as the bridegroom is with them to fast. As long as they are having the bridegroom with them, they are not able to fast. Apen is your aorist indicative active third person singular from lego. And he said, Jesus said to them, the sons of the bridegroom are not able while the bridegroom is with them to fast. Dunantai is from dunamai. It's the present indicative middle third person plural from dunamai. So they are not able that is the friends, we could say, of the bridegroom, while the bridegroom is with them to fast. Nestuein is your present active infinitive from nestuo. So they are not able to fast as long as they are having the bridegroom with them. They are not able to fast. Again, we have the repetition of dunantai and nestuein. So showing that right now is not the time for fasting. However, days will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them. And then the text says they will fast in that day. Elusantai dechimerai chatan aparte ap auton ha nufias kaitate nestu usin in a kenete chimera. Elusantai is your future indicative middle third person plural from ergamai. So days are coming when the bridegroom shall be taken from them. Aparthe is from apiro, to take away. We have the aorist subjunctive passive here from apiro. The days are coming when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then they shall fast in that day. Jesus is no doubt here anticipating the cross and what would happen. Notice here, nestu usin again is the present indicative active third person plural from nestuo. I'm sorry, nestu susin is the future indicative active third person plural from nestuo. Then they shall fast in that day. So then he gives an illustration of um, sewing a patch a new patch on an old garment, or putting new wine into old wineskins. In other words, he's not going to put in now what he's teaching into the old legalism that has been. So we read on, Udes epibela rakus afnafu epirapte epi hematian palayan edeme aireta pleroma ap altuta kainan tu palau kai keran schisma geneta. No one is taking or sewing a patch, a new patch upon an old cloth. No one is taking a new patch and sewing it upon an old garment. That's the first phrase. Notice here, epirapte is the present indicative active third person singular from epirapto, to sew. So no one is taking a new cloth or a patch, we could say, of new cloth and sewing it upon an old garment. Edeme, otherwise, aire ta pleroma apal tu ta kainan tu pailau kai keran schisma geneta. Otherwise, the patch is tearing away from it. That is, the new patch is tearing away from the old, and a worse tear or schism happens or occurs. Notice ire is your present indicative active third person singular from iro, to take away, or here to tear away. So otherwise, if one sews a new patch upon an old garment, otherwise the patch is tearing away from the old. That is, the new patch is tearing away from the old, and a worse schism occurs. Genata is your present indicative middle third person singular from genomai. And then in verse 22, he gives a second illustration. And here, you don't put new wine into old wineskins. The same thing will happen. It will destroy the skins and the wine will be lost. So we read verse 22. Kai udes bale oinan nean eis askus palaius edeme chleksecha oinas tus askus kai ha oinas apalutai kai hoi askoi Allah oinan nean eis askus kainus. That is, and no one is putting new wine into old wineskins. And otherwise, the wine is ripping or tearing the skins, and the wine is being lost or perishing, and the skins. But one puts new wine into new wine skins or new skins. Notice here, no one bale is your present indicative active third person singular from balo, is putting new wine into old skins. Otherwise, the wine this is from reknumi, meaning to tear. So otherwise, the wine is tearing the skins because of the expansion that occurs. And the wine is being lost. Apalutai is your present indicative passive third person singular from apalumi. So otherwise, the wine is being lost and the skins are being lost. But one puts new wine into new wineskins. So I think what Jesus is teaching here is I have not come to take what I'm going to present and put it back into the legalistic system that you are following or that you are a part of. I'm creating something totally new. I think that's the thought. So we have to put it in new containers, new wineskins, and we don't take a new garment and put it on an old piece of cloth. So he's emphasizing the newness of what he is teaching and presenting.